Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Wil Page. I'm the instructional technology coach over at Thomas Stark King Middle School, and I'm back today with distance learning for Google Classroom. Now, you are welcome to view this video or any of the videos that I've created or added to my distance learning playlist. Right down here is the bit.ly that you would be able to use to see anything that we're doing here and any other videos that have been added. So thank you for joining today. I'm going to make this as quick as possible so that we can go through and really get a good idea on how to utilize Google Classroom very quickly. What's great is it's a super simple website to utilize as a learning management software. Not all the bells and whistles that you might have out of something like Schoology, but for the intention of just sort of getting kids into a simple system in order to get their work loaded to you, very, very quick, very easy. All right, so I'm going to guide you through how to actually start a Google Classroom site on your end, and then what it's going to look like as you add add work to the classroom. The only thing that you're not going to see is what it's like from the student end because I don't have access to a student account. But basically, they're going to see work come in, very similar to what they would see in any other learning management software like Schoology, although I feel this is a little bit easier to work with. Okay, so very first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to classroom.google.com. Again, that's classroom.google.com. And as long as you have a Google account linked to your LAUSD or your school network, you're going to be able to do this without a problem. If you don't, all you have to do is open up a new account within Google and add your existing email address to that account. All right, so right here, I have gone to Google classroom.google.com. It opens up this. Here's the account I'm attempting to use. I'm going to hit continue, and then that's it. I've already started my Google Classroom account. Now I need to add classes because that's the next step. So right up here, this plus is going to allow me to either join a class or create a class. That's it. All right, so let's actually look at what this is going to look like from the teacher side once you've already begun to add or as you add new classes. So let's go ahead and click on create a class. So what we're going to do here, I am going to go ahead and create a third grade math class. And I'm not going to put a section in there, though I could put a period or a specific little note, and then I'll call this mathematics. And I'm not going to put a room number, but I could do that as well. I'm going to go ahead and hit create, and an icon for this specific class is going to appear. At that point, we'll have the ability to do plenty of things within Google Classroom that will allow for our students to join the class, and then from there, what happens next. All right, so let's talk about getting students added to your class. Okay, so very simply on the student end, within LAUSD, our students have Google accounts. If you're watching from another district, hopefully your students have accounts that are connected to Google. If they do, then this becomes a real simple process. If they don't, it's going to be nearly impossible. But all they're going to need to do is go to classroom.google.com, and instead of clicking the button that said create class, they're going to join a class. So what you're going to do is go ahead and you'll email them or send your students a Schoology message or whatever way you can communicate with them. And all you have to do is tell them to go to classroom.google.com, and then they would enter the unique code for your particular class. So for this third grade math class I just created, the code is 5N03UGT. It's that simple. Student enters that code, they become part of your class. Now, there are 4 sections within Google Classroom, beginning with what's called the stream. That's going to be any notes that have popped up, questions that your students may have put to you or to the entire class, or questions you might be putting out it could be just a check-in. It could be make sure you turn in your assignment by this date. Whatever it is, this is where you would actually communicate announcements or any schedules. All right, classwork itself is going to be added in this section here, and we're going to go through that process in just a minute. And then here, the people. Now you can also add other teachers. So you can invite a teacher. So if you're working with maybe an RST or you have a co-teacher that you're working with, you can add them to your Google Classroom. And then right down here is where your students are going to appear. And again, that class code is going to be unique just for this particular class. All right, final section is for grades, and this would be where you are adding any grades to individual students. Now, this does not align with other LAUSD software like any learning management software such as Schoology or Canvas, and it also doesn't align directly with MISIS. You would actually have to enter grade by grade into Schoology and then still do MISIS passback. All right. So let's go ahead and actually figure out what we're going to do in creating an assignment. Very simple. You click the Create button, and you choose what sort of assignment you're going to be creating. We're just going to go ahead and create a simple assignment. We'll call it, let's say it's from Chapter 6. Lesson 2, and I am just making this up, so just roll with me here. And we'll say that it is unit fractions. And then you would put in what your instructions were, and maybe it's all odd problems on pages 123 through 126. Over here, we make sure that it's for the class that we want it for, what the point value is, and I'm just going to go ahead and change this. Let's say there were 15 problems that they were doing. I might change it to 15 points. I'm going to give a due date of maybe tomorrow. And then from there, the topic. I don't have any topics created, but I'll show you what that's all about in just a few minutes. And then from there, if I had a rubric created for this, or I wanted to add a rubric, I could do that. And I'm going to show you this as well in just a few minutes. And then all I have to do is I can click on Assign, I could schedule, or I could save this as a draft or discard it altogether. If I schedule it, it will send out a notification at a specified time and day. If I assign it now, it'll just pop into the classwork stream immediately, and I could also save it for later. So let's go ahead and assign. And right here, it appears, and the students will get a notification on their end that there is a lesson. All right, so let's go ahead and do the exact same thing. We're going to reuse a post, and we're going to go ahead and reuse the same post. But what I'm going to do this time is I am going to change this to lesson 3. We're still going to call it unit fractions, but I'll change the numbers here. So we'll say this is 36. And now, instead of assigning it immediately, I'm going to go to schedule. That's going to allow me to actually have it assigned at a specific time. Let's say I want this scheduled at, today is the 23rd of March. Let's say I want it scheduled at 8 a.m. on March 25th. I just put in the date, the time, and schedule. And right here, it'll appear. Now, all my live lessons are going to be colored. All of my draft lessons or my scheduled lessons are going to be grayed out. Now, at 8 a.m. on March 25th, this will appear in the classwork stream, and then that's it. Students will have access to it. They'll see it at that point, but they won't see it before then. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out some other classes that I've already started working on. We're going to go to the 6th grade social studies class. Now, right here, I've actually broken this up in order to make it for standards-based grading. Within this, you'll notice here I have what are called topics, and underneath that I have each of the individual standards that I want students focused on. Now within this, so let's go ahead and look at this. All I've done is, so this is what it would look like on the on the teacher end. I have what the standard is, I have what the instructions are, and I have a rubric associated with it. Now, I have this set up because I want to make sure that if I'm being asked to do standards-based grading, I actually have a system already in place to be able to take care of that. Notice here I have all my topics. So let's say I get down to my Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Kush. I don't have anything scheduled. So let's go ahead and actually take care of that. So I'm going to come back to classwork, and I'm going to come down to this section here. So I now want to schedule standards-based assignments for Standard 6.2, Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Kush. I'm going to click here. I am going to notice that I can rename it, I can delete it, I can copy the link. I could also move it up or move it down. To move it up or move it down, I could also drag it. Okay, so if you notice here, I have Ancient Hebrews at 6.3. Now 6.2 is below that. I can also just move it up. So let's go ahead and actually create a lesson that's going to, or a master's-based standard that's going to go within 6.2. All right, so I'm going to click on Assignment under Create. And now I'm actually going to go to the history framework. And I'm going to be utilizing, so 6.2, that overarching standard is students analyze the geographic, political, economic, religious, and social structures of early civilizations of Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Kush. Great. But this is what I want to make sure my students have mastered. So I'm going to highlight that particular standard. I'm going to come back into my Google Classroom. I'm going to title this 6.2.1. and then go ahead and name it. All right, so this is the standard. I'm going to go ahead and pop this in right here. And then from there, I'm going to give my students some sort of specific instructions. And I actually utilize a website called Keep to sort of keep notes that I might have. And in particular, my Keep has a little note that I'm putting into all my standards-based grading. And that note is, share how you understand this standard via a Google Doc, file you have created, or other source. I'm going to make this a 1-point assignment because it's really a pass or fail. My due date, I'm going to go ahead and set a due date out of, let's say, June 1st. I could have a specific time if I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and make that 3 o'clock p.m. Right here, I'm going to go ahead and click which topic it's under. Now, because this is standard 6.2, and I'm focused on Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Kush, I'm going to make sure it goes there. And I'm also going to add a rubric. Now, I've already created a rubric for this particular standards base, but I could also reuse a rubric, which is what I'm going to do now. I could create a new rubric, or I can import from Google Sheets. I'm going to go ahead and reuse the rubric that I already have been using. And that's going to then appear. And what it's going to do is the instructions are to show your understanding, and it either shows mastery or it does not show mastery. Makes it real simple. All right. So you can also use what's called originality reports. Now, within originality reports, this is an option that you have connected to Google Education, where it will actually take assignments and it'll check for plagiarism. It's a nice little piece, but you only get to use it 3 times in any given class, so you got to be careful about how you utilize it. Okay, so at this point, I'm ready for this to appear for the students. I'm going to click Assign, and now, under Standard 6.2, we have a new assignment. And if we check the stream, you'll notice here that an assignment has appeared. So students see that as it appears on their side. They also can go directly into the classwork and see what they need to do. And then that's really it. Again, super simple to create that for a standards base or for a regular assignment. Again, you are welcome to reach out to me with any questions, comments, or points of clarification. My email address is william.page@lausd.net. My Twitter is @wilpage. edu, and then Facebook, you can find me at Wil Page, and then again my YouTube playlist that has this video amongst quite a few others is under bit.ly/distance learning playlist. Again, Wil Page here. I hope you're doing well. Stay safe, wash those hands, and keep your family safe as well. All right, be well, people.